to really just rest because, gosh, between COVID and kids out of school, and I've had some horrendous deadlines on me. I've got a attorney in my office who's out with a baby, so it's really piled on. There's a lot going on. And so I came on in June when I was able to take a few days off right before Megan had her baby, and yet we didn't know what was going on, and schools are crazy, and I've got grandkids living in my house, so everything was really wild. So I've had deadlines. I've had deadlines that I've had to write briefs on, which is always stressful because it really takes like a hyper focus on my part to sit at my computer and do a brief for a circuit court or even just a state court. So I've had some of those, and this last one I had a deadline on was Wendy Hancock's brief. You all know about our case. That's a case that we're arrested on, and I wanted to make sure I got the appeal done and got it right. And on this particular case, when you go to a federal circuit court, they give you a case manager, and that case manager has to approve your brief before it's filed. And she was like more particular than anybody about how I numbered the pages. I mean, I had to do it like 4 times, but finally she was totally happy. So I'm very excited about that because, you know, I just said whatever it takes to make you happy. So I finally got that file, but it took me like an extra 3 days of working on it. So that done, I had another state court appellate brief, one for Wendy and one on another case that have been recent. And then I've had some trials, and trials have been a challenge. I will tell you that I've had in July, about a week ago, I had 2 days back to back in court in a juvenile matter that there were, oh my gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attorneys, and of course clients. And I'm not going to get into the details of that right now because really our focus of today is Washington, D.C. But and then I posted a little bit of, you saw that I posted about recently this past Friday, which was a Zoom trial, which is a challenge for a few reasons. One of them is I am literally sitting on my bottom all day. And I will say, when you're in a courtroom, at least you get to jump up and down and make objections. You get to take a break and walk out of the courtroom. But I mean, literally on my bottom all day long. So anyway, I think we got a few people on now, and I know what I said I was posting about DC. I want to talk about that. It's so important. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to talk about why we need to go to DC and what we need to be thinking about. So I just want to do a little bit of a review. Some of you are new to the Family Forward Project and what we've done and the movement, and you know, have come in at different levels. But back in 2015 or 16, we had a march in DC, and we had about, I don't know, we probably had 50 or 60 people come, and and from all over. I mean, we had people from all over the United States, and I've done a little video of that before that I posted for you, where I went around, I asked people, they held up their signs, they had pictures of their grandkids on the sign. I asked them where they were from and why they were here. And then I have just a little video I put together of photographs. We also had several state meetings in 16 and 17. Jennifer Wynn did a big Fools No More march in April, 2 or 3 years in a row, and I was able to go to one of those, and we had a video that we posted about that. We've been to Iowa. We did a presentation in Iowa with Florida, Connecticut, Washington State, and where we would have, albeit some in Indiana, Tennessee, we would have small crowds. We would have some people collecting and meeting and discussing where we were and sharing our stories primarily, and also Alabama, I forgot about that. So talking about where we were. Very, very important to have that face-to-face contact. I know there's a lot of people in California, Arizona, Missouri, Texas that are affected by this, and a lot of those people have not been able to meet face-to-face. So we did that, and then in 18 and 19, we really focused on some small group because in February 2018 we had the Families First Preservation and Services Act pass in DC, and we attribute that to grandma lobbyist up in DC just, going and knocking on doors. And Kathleen Arthur was really a hero in that. And she went up there. She wasn't afraid to do it. And she's just a nurse, she's not a professional lobbyist. So in February of 2018, that finally passed. However, the states won't implement it. And it does a few things. I've talked about it before. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it today, but it is for 12-month services prior to removal. It has a teen in foster pregnancy program. It also was to defund group homes, and then kinship placement. Those are the 4 big things. So the states would not implement it. And then in 2018, at the end of 2018, we had the HHS in DC did an executive statement, not an executive order, but basically an agency statement allowing the states to use some of their Title IV money for attorney services for parents. And then also at the end of 2018, President Trump signed the Family Forward or Families First Support Act, which helped provide some funding for these 12-month these 12-month programs prior to removal. And then in June 2020, we got an executive order. Now, I have done several things. We've done letter campaigns, we've done postcard campaigns, and I know we've sent about 1,200 postcards, probably, maybe up to 1,500. And people would say to me, is anybody answering you? Are you getting a response? Nothing's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. And, I'm going to attribute part of the effort behind the executive order is just our work. Now, we've got a hero in D.C., Senator Chuck Grassley out of Iowa, and I know Iowa as a state has a lot of problems with CPS, but Senator Grassley has been there forever. He gets it. He knows what's wrong with it. He knows ASFA is a problem. So it is now time for us to really think about on the state level what we need to do, and for us to continue to make our presence and our voice known in Washington. I would say that the year 2020 is the year of activism. I mean, it is the year for activism. A lot of things have gone on. We really saw things start to steam up last summer when you had all the Yellow Vest protests in France, and then that spread across Europe. You had Italy and Norway and Spain and the UK. And then you saw in the fall, you saw Hong Kong. The protests in Hong Kong were all over the news, and it was just crazy and wild there. And then you saw, of course, the coronavirus, and they started putting us on shutdown and lockdown. And then you saw this springing up of all these other activist groups, what I'm going to say for social justice, because there's a lot of problems behind those. And of course, it's never social justice when you're destroying and causing chaos and harming people and doing the destruction that they're doing. So, but it is a year of activism. And in August, it is the 57th, I forget now, 53rd or 57th anniversary of the Martin Luther King March in Washington. And so there are going to be several groups there, and it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of people present. And at first I was concerned about safety, but the thing is we will stay together, and we have an alternate, which we have a permit for a different area, and I've got a little map here. I'm going to kind of point that out to you, but we have a permit for a different area that will be away enough from what's going on that we can set up a speaker, we can do speeches, we can do signs, we can hold our signs on the street, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And then what we're going to do is we are going to meet on Thursday afternoon for sure. If you need to come in on Wednesday to be able to be there in time, that's fine. The phone number for the hostel is posted on the event, so you can go ahead and call the hostel and see if you can get in on the 26th. I'm going in on the 26th. I'm flying into Baltimore. Whitney Manning has picked me up. I've already offered a couple people if they want to fly into Baltimore that afternoon, they can ride in with us. And then we will, on Thursday morning, we are going to actually go to the Congress, and I have some special flyers made. I've already posted those. I've had them sent to Virginia, so I don't have to pack them all the way up from Tennessee. But as soon as Whitney has her hands on those, we'll post and confirm that we've received those. We've got placard, and I've already posted the little placard card. And on the back of the placard card I didn't post the back of it, I don't think, but on the back of the placard card is a little message about ASFA and defunding ASFA. So you have the handout card, you have the placard card, and it looks like jobs, Washington for Jobs and Freedom. So yeah, there's going to be several different organizations there. So we'll have a handout card. We'll have our placards with a little spiel on it. The handout card has just a little spiel on it. It's like half of a sheet of paper. So like it'll be about this size. Okay, so it's not too big, too complicated. It's something that we can hand out, and we'll probably hand out a lot of those on Thursday when we go to the Senate buildings and to Congress. I have some bracelets. These are the bracelets. Our kids are not for sale. We went through all of those, but I had Scott bring me a bunch of bracelets that he had ordered about CPS corruption, and so we will have some bracelets. And let's see, what else? I think those are the main. Oh, now I have ordered some mugs, and we only got about, I'm not sure how many, maybe 20 or 30. I don't remember. I know Whitney's already received those, so she can let us know. But I've got those particularly so that we can do a gift to different congressional offices. And so we are going to just put some mints or something in it along with a little handout card. And they're really pretty mugs with our bright green inside the mug. And then I did order some bags that have our logo on them. I don't know, I may make them a door prize or something. Maybe we'll do a trivia contest or something. So so Thursday night primarily, I want you to be there by Thursday evening. And Thursday evening, we're going to basically have kind of a sandwich layout, sort of a deli layout on Thursday evening that will be included with what you're coming there to do. And then we'll stay at the hostel Thursday night. Friday morning, we'll basically have donuts and coffee. And then we will head down there. I think the march officially starts at noon, so we'll kind of head that direction. And then we'll sort of have a little spot where we're going to agree we're going to meet. And of course, everybody will know where the alternate spot is. And we will, even if we stay at the main march, we're going to go to the alternate spot in the afternoon so that we can do some storytelling and talk about broadcasting, basically just by ourselves. So then Friday evening, we'll return to the hostel and we'll have a dinner, probably a Southern dinner with some fried chicken, corn on the cob, something like that. And we're going to talk, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. And then we get up Saturday morning and we're going to have to be hitting the road. You're going to have to get yourselves out of there Saturday morning. I have to leave pretty early on Saturday morning because I am flying out of Baltimore, and I think my plane's at 10. So I'll have to get up and scoot out of there. I know Kathleen Arthur will probably be there at a little extra just to kind of help you guys get scooted out that day. So depending on how you get there. If you are flying in, you can fly into Baltimore. It's a little bit cheaper. I actually got a really cheap flight through Spirit Airlines, which is a really junky Stagecoach Airlines. I don't like it, but it was a really cheap flight into Baltimore. And then you can either take the train into Union Station, or you can Uber, of course, but if you can just get on the train and head in, since you shouldn't have much luggage since you're only there a day, and I would recommend like a backpack. Okay, so let's just travel light. Nobody needs to dress fancy. I'm going to dress in very comfortable clothes and shoes, probably wear the same pants, maybe change a shirt. Okay, change underwear. So travel light. And then you can get an Uber. And if you don't have Uber and Lyft on your phone, please go ahead and get that. I'm going to be honest with you. I never had Uber on my phone until my first trip to DC. And everybody's like, Uber. And I mean, I'm like a suburb girl. So we just jump in the car everywhere we go. But you get Uber on. It's so easy. It's not that expensive. You can share a ride. It's the easiest way to get around DC. And of course, there are taxis. So you can take a taxi as well. Now, what we'll be doing on Thursday evening is on Thursday is really kind of the hostel is actually going to kind of help us have a little social hour, probably have some cocktails or beer or something for us to enjoy, and be kind of an introduction. So if you would like to, have the floor for a short period of time, we can't go on and on and on, but, just think about your story and how your story has affected you and how you want to make sure that there's a change. There is so much tragedy associated with family courts and CPS courts, and so much family destruction, and the only way we can end that is for people to commit to those changes. And so that's really what I'm asking you to do, but it's really to get to know each other. And as we do that, I want you to just kind of think about what your strong talents are, what your spiritual gifts are, and how you can make those contributions. And then on Friday, I'm going to talk specifically about what I would like for us to do next. And I think that really one of the shortfalls that we've had in the meetings, the other DC meetings that we've had, or the other state presentations we've had, we've kind of walked away from them without an action plan and without saying, okay, now we're going to go do this. So ultimately, as we develop, I'm hoping that each state there's folks within the state that are going to be willing to look at what they can do in their own state. For instance, technically, in every state, I need somebody to lead advocacy, I need somebody to lead legislative and lobbying efforts, and I need somebody to do organization and research, okay? So basically advocacy, ultimately we want to be able to reach out and provide to other families what we know and what we have learned about the child welfare system, and you hear the same stories, folks, over and over and over. The same stories are, my attorney won't do anything, they won't interview me, they won't get my witnesses, I'm confused, I'm overwhelmed. So the advocacy component of it falls into that. The second part of that is the lobbying effort. And you've got to know on a state level, your state legislators are just common people. They're just folks, okay? They're not attorneys, they're pharmacists, they're doctors, and most of them want to hear from you. Most of them. There are a few, and I could name a few in Tennessee, who are arrogant or who think that you are, or who form an attitude and opinion, and they're closed-minded. There are a few of those. But there are state legislators who want the state to be a better place for its citizens. Always remember, though, they're going to be influenced by lobbyists, and lobbyists are going to be people with money, and foster care, of course, means money, okay? And then third, of course, organization is we want to look at people who can, just do the basic stuff, an email list if we need an email list. I do have a familyforwardfoundation.com website. I've sort of put the states in 6 different regions, so we can do events in those regions, protest in those regions. I've traveled to several states, and I'm willing to do that, but I have to have some notice. So I've had a lot of stress on me with trials and briefs and just crazy stuff, but I will do that, okay? I will travel. All right, so we'll think about that, and we'll talk about that on Friday. Yeah, okay, Lydia, sure. All right, now I want to talk a little bit about transportation up there. One of our members has a transportation company and has offered to take a very nice van from Tennessee up to DC, okay? It would seat about 10 people anywhere, and we'll stop anywhere along the way between Nashville and DC, such as East Tennessee, Knoxville, Sullivan County area, okay? And she is not going to charge you for this. This is so important. I really want to. This is a huge blessing. I am flying because I have to go up on the 26th. I would wish I could, and we could just all travel together. And, I used to be a cheerleader, and so we had a fan bus, and it was always a good place to talk and meet people and, sing a song or whatever. But I do have to go earlier. So please let me know about that, and please pass this video around. I will post this, and I'll repost again in Tennessee, etc. I have about 1,000 members out of Tennessee, so Tennessee, if you can go, please get yourself to Nashville, and then you will have to leave pretty early on Thursday morning, but get to Nashville and you'll have a trip the rest of the way, okay? You can do it, okay? You can do it. We're doing everything we can to make this possible. So the rooms at the hostel is $120. That includes taxes. It includes everything. That's 2 nights in the hostel. That also includes your Thursday night dinner, your Friday morning breakfast, and your Friday night dinner, okay? So there are a few people who are going up who are not going to stay at the hostel, and if they want to join us on Thursday night and Friday night, we're just going to ask them to make a small contribution for food and just kind of help contribute to the food, but not a whole lot, okay? So we want this to be a together thing, okay? We want this together. All right, so... and I want to talk about, and we have these. I'm sorry. We have these. You see this? I know it's going to be backwards for you. I posted a picture of it the other day. We talked about t-shirts, and I said, well, I'm personally not much of a t-shirt person, and let me look into hats. So defunding ASFA, for those of you who don't know, if you're new to this, is the Adoption and Safe Families Act. That is the act in 1997 that put a bonus head on the head of every child, and I would like to defund and ban that adoption bonus money as soon as we can. I think that's like the elephant in the room, and that is such a huge step because every time I tell people about the state gets a bonus check every time they adopt a child into the home of strangers, then everybody goes, oh no, that's a horrible thing. How can that be? So I think that's kind of low-hanging fruit for us, and we would like to defund ASFA. So I have these great hats. You'll get one if you come to DC. If you don't make it to DC after we're done, that we will restock the hats and the mugs and the flyers, and probably put together a little package for you so that you can buy a hat, a mug, a flyer, a few flyers to hand out, and you can start on your states. I mean, even if you just and make a poster with pictures on it. That's so important, to make a poster with a picture on it. So I have a few banners. Y'all have seen my, I've done different photographs with my banners. I probably have 7 or 8. I may order a couple more if I can get them in time. This one was Stop Separating American Families, okay? I've got about 4 more banners, so I'll take those up there too, and we can use those. But do make a poster and put a picture of your child, and have a big picture, not just this tiny little picture like this big. Get a picture that's like an 8 by 10 or something, and put your child up there, and let them know that, you know, there's been so much destruction to the life of this child because what has occurred. So just going to encourage you to do that. All right, so, and I want to talk again, I want to sort of summarize this portion about how important it is to meet person to person. All right, we are in this crazy pandemic that has cut us off from each other, and it's really weird, okay? It's really weird. I don't know. It's so paranormal. I don't know. It's so bizarre. It's put people in a weird state of mind, in a weird state. And social media, which has great blessings in that it is a huge forum. It is a platform that I can give you some kind of message daily, even if it's just a short message. I can share the news with you. I can, it's such a great platform. But to be able to speak to you, and I'm going to tell you, I have met some of the most incredible people in this journey and made some of the most incredible friendships. And, those people know who they are, and they are people I could reach out to, that I could count on, that I would give my life for. So it's an important, because I know where their heart is, and I know what goodness means to them. So it's so important that we have that ability to see each other. So this is why it's so important for us. And then as we leave there, we'll talk about where we can go in another state, and where we can go to touch lives. And what we've tried to do is we've tried to have like a little get-togethers on our own. And I think one of the things I want you to look at now is maybe we need to have a booth or a table or a space at some other activity, okay? And we can raise a little bit of money to do that. I can make one of those big things that go behind. And we did this a couple times up at the state legislature, and you just have that message there. So, maybe there's a place, and it can be, there's all kinds of different things that are going on. There's rodeos, and there's this and there's that, and we need to have some time to get together, and we need to have some time to talk about the issues, but we also want to be able to make sure we're just passing that word out to people all the time. I'm going to get more postcards too. We're going to do more Trump postcards. We have an election in 100 days, y'all, 100 days. And, I don't make Family Forward a platform personally. I know most of you, because of the way Facebook is set up, a lot of you who are in Family Forward are also on my personal page. And my personal page is where I put in my political personal beliefs. Family Forward, the beliefs and the programs that we support are bipartisan. Both sides agree that there need to be changes. And as a matter of fact, the Families First Prevention and Services Act was sponsored by Wyden and Grassley, okay? And they were, and the other one, Wyden and the Northwest. I always forget if he's Oregon and Washington. And Utah, Hatch. So, and then Grassley. So it's a bipartisan issue that people on both sides. As a matter of fact, when we go to Washington, D.C., Senator Bass out of California is clearly a Democrat. She understands the problems with foster care. Danny Davis out of Illinois, clearly a Democrat, understands the issues with foster care. But we also have Senator Grassley. I've worked a lot on my Congressman, Mark Green, to help him understand what the issues are. So it is a bipartisan issue. So we got an election in 100 days. And if there is a transition in the administration, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. It's so frightening. Okay. So we know there's a lot of money in foster care lobbying, and we have to continue to just stand up against it. So we're not going to predict that right now. That's not why we're here. But we are going to start looking at our state legislators, because we already have a baseline. We already have the Family First Act. We already have HHS saying to support attorneys. We already have the Family Support Act, so we have got to start pushing it at a state level. As I was talking about meeting personally and seeing each other face to face, the other thing I just want to share is from my life with the horrible, horrible tragedies and bad things that have happened, have arisen out of either loss or some type of a dysfunctional relationship, whether not necessarily personal, but it can be professional or from a political standpoint. And the blessings that I've had, and of course I give grace to God, or give thanks to God, but it's through His grace. But I'm going to tell you that they have arisen out of awesome relationships, okay? Relationships that I have worked hard on to develop and to foster and to share and to work on. So that is why face-to-face of who we are is so, so important. Okay, so I'm going to log off now. I know this is a Sunday afternoon. I saw some videos, people going to picnics and having a good time. I needed to make a commitment to do this before we're out in the country, and I'm going to have to pack up and get back to the city here pretty soon. So I love you all. Please pass this around. Please come to Washington, D.C. If you go to the event, it also has a list of things that you should bring with you, like fanny packs, phone batteries, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So I hope to see you there. I think I have about 20 reservations. I think we probably have about 20 spots left open in the hostel. And if you have other places you want to stay, of course, that's fine too. But I still would like for you to do that form so I know who's going to be there. And the form link is in the event as well. Okay, y'all. I so look forward to seeing you. Can't wait to see you. All right, bye-bye.